Hi everyone. Did you know that there is an extremely high correlation between bisexuality and domestic abuse? You might think to yourself, why on earth would there be a correlation between the two? What's the link there? Bisexuality, intimate partner violence, domestic abuse. I'm going to tell you exactly why and why we should all be really keenly aware of it so that we can avoid it. Check out this important information today. Hello, lovely people. Thank you so much for listening. It's lovely to see you. Bit of an important one today from Not Defining. This is the correlation between bisexuality and domestic abuse. Now, why on earth would you say such a thing? I'm going to get right into it. When we are bisexual or on the bi spectrum, we are brought up to second guess ourselves. Yeah, so we feel the attractions, the feelings, the identity that we are. But society constantly tells us that we are kidding ourselves. Society constantly makes us second guess ourselves. We're constantly confused, thinking, well, am I really bisexual? Am I really gay? Am I really straight? Is what I'm feeling inside really real? Is bisexuality really real? Am I just in denial? Yeah, all of these things. So what is happening from a really early age is that we are actually being gaslighted by society. What does this mean for us as we go forward in our adult lives and form relationships? What it often means is that we are people who do not trust our instincts. Okay? Our instincts have been told that they're wrong, that they're confused, that they're not really real feelings. And we never feel stable. We rarely feel stable in who we are and what we're feeling. So when you are in a situation of domestic abuse, and please, if anybody is in a situation of abuse, please come and tell us because I can get support to you. One of the most fundamental reasons why abuse is allowed to happen is that we second guess ourselves. So someone's mistreating us and we go, oh, well, this doesn't feel right, but I'm sure it's okay because I'm just being silly. Yeah? Anyone who's been in that situation, I'm so sorry if you have, but you will know that's how it goes. We second guess ourselves. In addition to that, the abuser will often gaslight us, okay? This is what we call emotional abuse, where the abuser will say, oh, you're just being too sensitive. I'm not really being out of order. You're just being silly. You're just getting confused. Everything is fine. This is normal. This is the way normal relationships work. All of these abusive excuses are what keep us in those situations. And as bisexual people, we are primed and conditioned from an early age to second guess everything that we are feeling. So if you are bisexual on the bi spectrum, just be aware when you're in a relationship that your instincts are normally correct. Okay? The second reason why we are vulnerable to abuse is that there's a stereotype that bisexuality is this promiscuous sexuality. We're going to cheat, we're going to be unfaithful, we're not capable of monogamy, and all of these things. These things are not true, but a lot of people think them. And so what can often happen is that we can fall into, unfortunately, possessive, jealous relationships, yeah, controlling relationships, yeah. So if your partner is constantly checking up on you, constantly, reading your text messages, yeah, not wanting you to hang out with certain people, these are all forms of abuse, yeah. If your partner is constantly accusing you of cheating or being jealous and saying, oh, you're flirting with that person, or you're going to leave me and all of this, this is all emotional abuse. And of course, these things, crop up in relationships from time to time. But if this is happening systematically, then this is emotional abuse. And unfortunately, often bisexual people are constantly hit with this barrage of distrust and jealousy. So we can be really, really vulnerable. Another way that this can manifest is often bisexual people are in kind of relationships with heterosexual people. And obviously we sometimes want to feel part of our community as well. So we might go to LGBT spaces, we might take part in Pride, we might, hang around with other bi or queer people, which is very important to our well-being. So often that dynamic can be taken as, oh, well, you're part of this community, you want to be LGBT, you don't want to be in the straight world. There's this kind of separation, or your straight partner will say oh, I'm not welcome in those spaces, which of course they are. And there can be jealousy there about your queerness and the way you engage with your queerness, how you present your queerness. Do you dress in a certain way? Do you hang out with certain people? Oftentimes jealous partners will say, oh, well, you're going to go to this event which is hosted in a gay bar and you're going to be around all these queer people, so therefore you're going to cheat on me. This assumption that you cannot be in an LGBT space and be faithful to your partner. This is so toxic. So just watch out for that. We're very, very vulnerable because we do straddle these two worlds. If your partner is being possessive or distrusting of you, just remember that trust is built by action and has nothing to do with your orientation. By the way, if you're not subscribed to our channel, then please click the subscribe button because it really helps us out to get this important information to more people. If you're interested in this topic, if you're struggling with any of this, come and talk to me and I will be so happy to provide you with some support. So thanks for joining us. The third way that we are open to abuse is, of course, sexual abuse. Oftentimes there's this idea that bisexual people are more open to sexual experiences or open to different types of sexual experiences, which of course is not true. And sometimes we can feel pressured to engage in sexual activities which we're not comfortable with. Oftentimes, but not exclusively, bisexual women and femme people are reporting this idea that maybe you're a bisexual woman in a relationship with a straight man and he wants to have a threesome with another girl and you don't feel comfortable with that, and he's like, well, I thought you were bisexual, don't you want me to be included in that? Does that mean that you're a lesbian, you're gay because you don't want me involved? And this can lead to guilt and shame and ultimately experiences that we are not comfortable with. It can also lead to sexual harassment. Let's say if you are in a bar, let's say if you are in either a kind of straight space or even an LGBT space and you say you're bisexual, people can fetishize that. People can think, oh, well, you're up for it. And they can do things which, are inappropriate. They can treat you inappropriately. Oftentimes it can even be comments, comments that are harassing you and so on. Sexualizing our identity is really a common thing and it's not okay. So just be aware of those behaviors. The next thing which can make us vulnerable is if we are in, let's say, a relationship with one person of one gender, and that relationship is abusive. We leave the relationship because it's abusive. If we then go on at any point in our lives to have another partner who happens to be of a different gender to the abusive partner, oftentimes people will look at that and they will say, oh, that's why the relationship ended. Yeah? Because clearly the bisexual person wanted something else. Actually, the relationship ended because it was deeply abusive, violent, aggressive, controlling, whatever. but you will be blamed and not the abuser, because somehow our sexuality, if it changes from different genders, has to be the problem. And this can be immensely difficult, because if you're coming out of an abusive relationship, you want to tell people, and it's difficult enough as it is to talk about abuse and to get people to believe it. And so if you then get with a partner of a different gender, people are like, oh, well, maybe they were making up or exaggerating the abuse because, you know, they wanted to get with. Anyway, there's this whole big thing, and we really need to normalize bisexual people having partners of different genders. So just be aware of that, I would say. The next thing is, oftentimes bi people, we are fluid and we have fluid episodes, and sometimes we will be in a monogamous relationship, but we will have periods where we feel less attracted to our partners or the gender of our partner, or it might change a little bit. And we don't always kind of get to conform to the traditional like relationship stereotype of how it's structured. And if we're not careful, this can make us feel guilty, it can make us feel ashamed, it can make us feel like we're not satisfying our partner and that we are bad partners. This is difficult enough as it is, but in an abusive relationship, this can be used against us. You know, our partners will say, oh, well, we're not having, you know, as much sex as we used to, or, you know, I feel like you're wanting other things. Yeah, or, you know, the connection between us isn't right. Or I look at my friends and they have this kind of relationship and, you know, we're like this. And lots of different things can just make us feel a sense of low self-esteem, low confidence in our relationship, like we're bad partners, like we're not as good, yeah, like we're not good enough. And this can prevent us from standing up to mistreatment, yeah, and stating our needs and stating our boundaries. Bisexual people often suffer from anxiety, from depression, from different forms of mental health issues. There's also a huge correlation between a lot of neurodiversity and mental health issues. Neurodivergent people are oftentimes more vulnerable to abuse as well, because again, we second guess ourselves, we don't necessarily understand things in the same way. So for many different reasons, bi people can feel a lack of self-confidence and a lack of self-worth. And that, unfortunately, is dynamite for an abusive relationship. We have to be strong, we have to know who we are, we have to stand up for ourselves and be clear in our needs and our wants. And the final thing is, many times bisexual people aren't out, or we're not out to everyone in our life. If we come out to our partner and we trust them, then in an abusive situation, that partner has power over us. Yeah? So often we feel terrified that our partner might out us, yeah, to our family, to their family. And this can be used as a threat, either within the relationship to get what they want, or after a relationship, like I said, to kind of excuse the abuse and kind of make it out like it was all your fault and you left them, you know, because you found out you were gay, or you wanted something else. So we're often in a vulnerable position because of that. Bit of a sad video today, but I really hope that this information can get out. Please share this if at all you can, because it's so important that we understand our vulnerabilities. And if we do, then we can all be safer and have really strong and supportive relationships. So once again, if you're struggling with any of this, please come and let me know you're not alone. Hit that subscribe button and I will see you very soon. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.